Well, hello there! Welcome once more to Crunchy's Kitchen. And if this is your first time stopping by, I'd like to say a very warm akara to you. I know, you're wondering, what is wrong with her? Why did she get yams looking like this? Well, these were on sale, and if you know me, you know I can be very, very frugal. Yes, if it's on sale, if it's a good deal, that is what I'm gonna get. So these yams right here, I got from the African market. A&A had deals in Chandler for $20. This typically would be anywhere like $40, but because they were like going bad, not really bad, and so I'm going to take you through whilst I peel them so you see that I literally didn't have to throw anything away. But I got it for that good price, and normally when I get it, make sure I get enough, peel, cut them up, freeze, and store them that way, so I am saving money. So I'm sharing this with you. I previously got some I forgot to video and share with you, so I just went for extra just to share this with you, and I hope this video is helpful to you. So you see, the first one I peeled, perfect, nothing wrong with it. And here's another piece. So I'm going to just go ahead and peel every one of these, and when we are done peeling, we will cut them up. I get my yams, when I get them like this, I peel, cut them up into slices the way we would be using them to make ampesi, boiled yam, and I also cut them up in shapes ideal for frying, and I just preserve. It saves me money, like really. So when you go to your African market the next time, or you go to the market and you see yams, it doesn't have to be like this, like really necessarily. It shouldn't be going bad before you buy, but I am saving myself money, and of course I'm saving my mom, Ma Grace, or whoever your favorite African store person is. You're saving them from ending up throwing everything away and making a loss, and we don't want to have a waste. So you see this one, that is all I took out of it, just a little hole. It didn't go deep, so that was just a little part that was going bad. This is perfect as well. And so like I was saying, you save them from, making a loss, and you save yourself a great deal of money when you get it like this and preserve in your freezer. If you know you don't have time to do this, don't even bother, because once this sits there, in your kitchen or in your pantry for about 3-5 days, they're typically going to go bad. So I'm done peeling. I have thrown away my peels, and I'm going to start off by cutting up these ones in shapes that would be for frying. Yes, I know it's very messy, and you have to be careful. These yams can make your hands really itch. So I was showing you the tips. I like to have them that way because I like to have a little bit of crunch in my yams. So when I get them into a little bit of like triangular shape, the tips that are very slim or skinny is my favorite part to eat. And then, like my husband, he doesn't like very crispy yams, so of course we both get what we want. Okay, feel free to cut it up any way you like. Sometimes I just make them into like just typical like how French fries are cut, which is also okay. Whichever way you want to cut up your yam. The goal here is to get your yams when it's in season or at a great price and save some money. How to preserve it. So I have cut up these ones ideal for frying, like I was saying, and I'm just going to go ahead and wash them. And as you can see, just a few parts of them changing color, a little bit of oxidization taking place, and I'm going to show you how to stop this process so it doesn't get more discoloration as it gets in the freezer, because once you put it in the freezer, it's of course not going to get cold and start freezing right away, and this oxidization acts so fast. So you need to really do this step coming up to make sure that your yam stays good. If your yam is not oxidizing whilst you've peeled and washed it, you don't need to do this. And what I'm doing now is adding just a little bit of salt. So I added about a teaspoon of salt, and now I have just rubbed the salt all over my yams, and that is it. That is what my mom taught me. I have done it several times. Without doing it, I have learned my lesson. The yams, by the time you go pick it out of the freezer, would have really changed color. Before it cools or freezes, the oxidization acts so fast, you wouldn't want that. So I'm done with this, and I'm just portioning them out Typically, fried yam is just eaten by me and my husband. And if you know, you know, when you fry yams, you tend to eat more of the yams than when you boil it. I guess because it loses a lot of moisture, it is just more delicious. It's something you don't eat a lot often, so you tend to just eat more. All these factors. So I'm just portioning them out, and then of course we'll get them ready for the freezer. So there we are, all done. And now we'll focus on the ones that we are going to cut up in sizes ideal for ampisi. So we are cutting them in slices, beautiful Arabemu kind of slices, because like I always say, I don't want to hear ade yede koto car chalk from my mom. So you don't want to make it so big. It's not going to be the one that you are going to secure your car from skidding off a hill. So beautiful, gorgeous slices like this. Oh, chuchanu rabemu, you know, okay. And there, this little part here, I see it has a little bit of what should I say? I thought it was rotten, but it's not. It just has uh, some little specks in here. So I'm just trying to make sure I get them out. And that is it for this one. Seriously, I ended up not throwing any part of my yams away. And that day when I went to the African market, I actually got some for my friend because she requested. So not wanting to buy her something that she might end up not liking, I got her the ones that were intact, like whole. There was no cut on them. They were supposed to be perfect. She ended up throwing most of it away. And look at mine. Nothing wrong with these. Nothing. Nothing. Only for $20. And this is about, in total, if I was to put them together, it's almost 5 tubers. Whereas I bought her 3 tubers for $25. So I got about 5 tubers for $20. Can you even imagine that? This is just really, really money saving. And if anything can save me money, trust me, I'm getting it, because I have so much use of my money. There's so many things I could use my money to do. And there's nothing wrong with this, nothing. Probably not looking desirable, but once you peel and cut it up, there's really no difference between this and the one that I would have had to pay more money for. So anyway, these have been sliced up beautifully. And of course, yeah, my hands are itching a little bit. Of course, yes, it can make you itch. So sometimes I tend to put on my gloves to do this as well. You don't want to go through all that if you don't need to. And I'm going to give this 2 rinses like I did with the previous one. And also, I am going to try and make sure to add a little bit of salt to prevent further oxidization. Sometimes, like I'm saying, you don't need to, so you have to study your yam. But of course, if you add the salt, it is better, because whether it was going to get oxidized or not, you make sure, you know, just a little bit of salt. It's not going to be the kind of salt that is going to make your yams salty when you boil or fry it, because it's not even enough for cooking. You would still need to add something to it when you're ready to cook. So let's go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of salt to this one as well. Rub it all over, just like this. And then of course I'm going to go ahead and portion these out as well and back them. I highly recommend that you portion out your yams before you freeze it. So that way when you bring out a bag, you know that you are going to cook every piece of it and not end up having to bring it, let it sit to thaw or something, and then put some back in the freezer. You know, you want to try to prevent that. So I do it this way, keeping in mind that every now and then my kids would like to eat yam. So I put about 2 or 3 extra pieces on top of it, just in case they want to eat it. If they don't eat it, whatever remains when we boil will be leftovers. You know, I'm the queen of leftovers. Everything I cook, I want to have a little extra for another day anyway. And if we have company, I just tend to bring an extra bag or 2, depending on how many people we have. And that's it. That's it. You don't want to waste food. You don't want to expose it, you know, bring it out, thaw, put it back in the freezer. That is not even healthy anyway. So just look, can you even see how much yams I have bagged? All these for $20. Imagine. This is just good. Like, I'm so happy with this, and I hope this is helpful to you, that you'll be able to save some money and some time as well, because once this is done and in the freezer, when you want to cook, you just grab it. Your stew is already done. There you go. And so into the freezer these goes. I've made space for them. You want them to be in a good place to freeze as fast as possible, but the salt is going to help prevent further oxidation anyway. So next time you want to make some boiled yam, you just bring one out of the freezer. This is from a separate batch that I already had in the freezer. So this is in a Ziploc bag. You can preserve it in whichever bag you have available. I just run some water over it just to make sure that they separate from each other, and I literally cook them from frozen, and always come out great. I hope this is very useful to you, especially in these times where we should limit the time we spend outside, especially running to the store when it's so dangerous. You just don't want to expose yourself and bring something home to your family or to yourself. So kindly try using this tip. Freeze your yams, preserve it that way. And look at this. If I didn't tell you that I cooked this from frozen, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyway. And for the fact that it saved me money, even better, just perfect. So for you to fry your yams, you just bring it from the freezer. And so on this day we were having company, so I brought out 2 bags of it. Just run water over it, salt it, and fry it. The best thing about frying your yam this way is that because it's frozen, you know, it's cooking from almost frozen, it tends to keep a little bit longer in the oil to cook, and so it fries like you parboiled the yams before you fried it. It's very crispy on the outside, but just soft and beautiful on the inside. I hope this is very useful to you, and until I come your way next time with something delicious, be loving, be kind, be happy.